Welcome to Capitol Preview, a weekly bipartisan discussion with Iowa legislators about the key issues facing our state. Brought to you by Mediacom.
Good morning, and welcome to another segment of Capitol Preview. I'm Bill Peard, and I'll be your host this morning. Our guest today on Capitol Preview is Senator Chaz Allen, Democrat from Newton. Senator Allen?
Well, hey, thanks for having me again.
Good to see you this morning.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Hey, just a couple things that we kind of want to go through as our legislative session starts to draw near. We hope that it draws near. We've gone through the second funnel and now kind of rounding third base with the hopes that the legislature will conclude its business on or around May 1st. But we still have some issues that we have to get figured out, and the first one is school funding. So do you kind of want to go through your little deal on school funding?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we as a Democrat, we've come down to 2.625. The funny thing is right now, tonight, Newton is going to certify its budget at 0% growth. With that growth, there's an automatic budget guarantee that kicks in. So by going at zero, property taxes are going to go up in the Newton Community School District, and that's unfortunate. I'd like to see just the compromise come in at 2.625 so we can move on and set the rest of the budget, and things will start going a lot faster once we're able to do that and see. I mean, the first thing we're supposed to do as a legislature is set school funding, and we've not done that for the past several years, and I think it's important that we get back on track and start doing that in the first 30 days of the session.
Which has so tell me how that works. If they set a zero growth budget tonight, and the legislature comes, they figure out what the compromise is going to be. How does that work? Does the property tax get refunded?
I think they'll probably amend the budget, and that property tax will have to continue to go on, but they'll amend the budget throughout the year or at the end of this school year to show that, hey, they had more revenues than they anticipated and put that back to the taxpayers the following year. But it's unfortunate. I mean, I get a lot of emails about that from school teachers and parents and things and those type of people that just want it done. I mean, we just need to get that done in the first 30 days, and it would be a lot easier on those schools because this is just what we're funding this year. We haven't even talked about next year yet.
Yeah. Well, it makes it difficult for everybody trying to put a budget together. Superintendent trying to give his roadmap for the next school year, teachers planning. So, yeah. You're on Veterans Affairs. What have we done for our vets in the state of Iowa?
One of the things this year, the lottery has the pull tab tickets, the profits from that goes to the Veterans Trust Fund. Well, the pull tab tickets haven't been doing very well lately, and that dollar amount's come down, and the lottery's come to us with a proposal that's passed both the House and the Senate, and the governor, I believe, will sign it, or has signed it maybe, is that they want to put $2.5 million into the Veterans Trust Fund to help those veterans that are in that need the most. And this will be a consistent revenue stream that'll build up a fund that we can use to help our veterans. It was a win-win, both the lottery and with our state legislature, and to help our veterans. So it's a good program.
Excellent. What's the best thing our state government can do for small businesses? And small businesses represent a huge part of our economy in Iowa.
They do, and I think one of the key things we can do is be less burdensome to them. And I'm not talking about taxes. I'm talking about the regulations and things like that. A state agency's first contact with the business they haven't met with before should be one to help and say, hey, how can we help you? Here's what the rules and stuff are. How are you doing this, and can we help you get there? Because the small business wants basically three things: to do their business, to make sure their workplace is safe for their employees, and to protect their investment. And I think the state can play a larger role in that by just, any first contact with a business is kind of a helpful audit. Not a audit and then a fine, or not an audit and then some sort of regulatory roadblock where lawyers and accountants have to get involved. That's the easiest step we can take to protect our small businesses and help them out into the future.
Sounds like a good plan, Chaz. Obviously, another hot issue down there, and something that they're trying to get their hands on is the medical cannabis oil. What are your thoughts on that?
That's
Bill?
a tough one because I get what we're trying to regulate something outside of the FDA, but this is an important thing. I get a lot of comments from people with children or with friends and family that have epilepsy or something like that this can directly impact immediately. And because this is I might get this wrong, but it's I believe a Schedule 2 drug that they want to make Schedule 1 or vice versa, so they can do more studies on it. We can't even get that done. So I think by passing this and getting that oil, the legislature did something last year that didn't help anybody. Mm-hmm. You know, they can't get the stuff that they've promised them into this state. You can't go through Nebraska, you might get arrested. So I think it's our first is to fix that. We've got to fix that so those people can get the help that we've promised them as a legislature. And once we've done that, I think there's other things. The bill before us lists out the different illnesses that you could use cannabis for. Now the doctor can diagnose you that says, yes, you have this illness, and then you go to the state, I think it's Department of Public Health, and then they say, yes, you've met this criteria, so you can go get that oil that you need. This is not talking about smoking marijuana or anything like that. This is talking about getting the benefits from the oil that's there, that's proven to help those children on epilepsy, those adults that have it, that have the different needs for it. I think it's imperative that we get that done.
So why was the bill, so help me understand, or help our viewers understand why the bill was passed last year, but it didn't have those components in it to figure out how it would work.
When you start talking about legalizing the marijuana, I mean, that's a third rail. People didn't understand that how accepted, we're just talking about the cannabis oil. We're not talking about smoking it. How accepted that is in the public. Mm-hmm. And I think now that we've shown that, hey, it's reasonable to think that if this can help those people, that we need to get it to them. So I think now we've kind of come a long way from breaking the stigma of, and it's just an oil that these people can use. And we've broken that stigma of medical marijuana to show, hey, we can make this happen and we can help people.
Okay. Another big issue, and I know the governor has been involved in this, is the Medicaid and the Medicaid managed care program.
Right. From our perspective, this is the largest procurement the state has ever been a part of, $4.2 billion. And I think, and the governor is doing this, I mean, it's his prerogative to do this, and there's nothing he's doing wrong. We just think that there should be some oversight on this. Because as this changes, those people that are under the Medicaid system are going to start calling legislators next year as this thing transfers to this managed care system. And I believe that we need some sort of oversight just to review it. Not that anything's being done wrong, but we just believe that there should be some oversight so we can review this as it goes forward. Because $4.2 billion is a large chunk, and is the largest chunk that we've done for a state procurement. So I really believe having legislative oversight will be important for that process.
Excellent. You know, I'm kind of hitting all the hot buttons, the ones that have been in the newspaper, the one that the governor ran on, and that is one of the things that you guys have taken up this year is the broadband bill and what that means to Iowans. So,
well, broadband is important, but how we get it everywhere is the difficult issue. As you know, I've been a part of broadband for 10 or 15 years working at Iowa Telecom. And the biggest thing is it's got to be cost effective. It has to be put out in a way that a company can get a return on laying that cable, that fiber, that satellite dish, whatever it is. You can't go out and lay $5 million worth of cable and then get $50 a month to expect a return on that investment. Mm-hmm. So whatever the state does, they need to incent those businesses to put that out there if that's where they want it to happen. Because the business model is, hey, we're willing to put it anywhere if we can get the cost back, at a minimum the cost back. But they're in this to make a profit. So
Chaz, do you think different maps, different studies say different things? So do you think that the state is providing, or I shouldn't say the state, but broadband exists in significant numbers now?
I believe it does. I think a lot of the small companies out there, we have the most rural telephone companies in the country in one state,
right.
And the services they provide are leading the way. Yeah. So I think if we let the market decide what technology to put out there, it'll happen. Mm-hmm. I know that we've got as a state to be supportive of that, mm-hmm. but we can't get in the way of it. I mean, there's experts in this building that know where it needs to go.
Right.
And I think we need to rely on them and help them and assist them to get that broadband out there in our rural areas and even in some of our newer areas that are growing outside of Altoona, those places that don't quite have it yet. They were rural 2 years ago.
Right.
Now they're big housing subdivisions, and we got to find the best way to get it out there.
Right. Well, Senator, You know, we're kind of, like I said at the beginning of the show, we've gone through both the funnels. So the bills that are going to be discussed or be debated and passed are now, that's what's ahead of you. So tell me how you think the rest of the session is probably going to go from here on out.
I think it go a lot quicker once we get an agreement on the education funding. Once we understand what that dollar amount is, we can set the rest of the budget behind that and make sure. I mean, there's obviously, we're in a position right now where basically our revenues equal our expenses. So there's not much more we can do. Mm-hmm. So once we decide on the school funding, we can go through and set those budgets and move them forward. In the coming year, because of corn prices and things like that, we're going to be faced tougher times in the next couple of years. And we've got to set a budget this year that helps us set a budget next year because of that. I mean, if it's going to be tougher times, we don't want to go and make a whole bunch of cuts by putting too much money out there this time. We want to make sure we have a smart budget that plans for those next 2 years, and I believe we will.
Yep. Do you guys have any way of forecasting that? Because obviously the farm economy is a huge part of the budget. I mean, I shouldn't say the farm, the ag economy is a huge part of the Iowa state budget. And obviously they've had some shortfalls this budget year because ag is slowing down a little bit. So do they have any way they can project that into for the future couple of years?
We do. Both the governor's office and the Senate and the House, we do predict that the revenues are going to be shorter in the next couple of years. Okay. That's out there. So we have projected that, and we want to make sure we keep a smart budget going forward so that we're not doing a 10% across the board tax like they did, or budget cut like they did several years ago. Yeah. I think it's important that we set a budget that we can maintain over the next 3 or 4 years.
Senator, I know this is your freshman year. Anything you want to, any words of wisdom that you want to impart to our viewers this morning?
I don't know. It's been a fun process learning, and as a mayor, as you know, we're independent. We go out and do this, and then as you move up into the Senate or the House, it becomes a partisan position. Yeah. So just learning that and being patient and trying to work my way through the system so I can get as much done for my constituents as I can, I think is the key.
All right. Very good. Glad to have you here this morning. Stay tuned. We appreciate Senator Allen coming in here and sharing his views and answering questions of Iowa voters. So stay tuned for our next segment, which we will have Representative Tom Sands, Republican,